Astro fam. Happy Tuesday. First I want to start out by saying happy Aquarius season to all of our Aquarius. So it just started yesterday on January 20th and it's going to go all the way through February 19th, February 20th. Kind of depends on how you seem fit. But we're going to enjoy this season. If you're an Aquarius, happy birthday. And we're going to love ourselves, and we're going to let the sun explore our personality and let our internal personalities of our ego just really shine these next few weeks. But today is actually going to be all about Aries. Aries is a unique sign. It's the very first in the zodiac sign. And it's really interesting to think about because Aries are, so even though it is Aquarius season, I actually wanted to start the series of all the zodiac signs. So we're going to start with Aries. Aries is the first zodiac sign. A little bit about Aries. We're going to go in depth about the traits of an Aries, what some of the problems of Aries are, what the strengths and weaknesses are of an Aries. And if you're an Aries, definitely try to pay close attention, because I want you to think about how these things compare to you and if they really are speaking out to your personality as well. So let's get started. So in Aries, they are a cardinal and a fire sign. So if you don't remember what those are, please go back to my second video. That way you can learn about the elements, the signs, and everything about that. That way you can understand a little bit more about your sign or what an Aries is. But as a refresher, a cardinal means that they're just a leader, they're an initiator, and they are great at starting new things. For that fire sign, they're very energetic, they're very passionate, and they're very spontaneous as well. But with the Aries, the symbol is a ram. The part of the body that is ruled by Aries is the head. So if you are an Aries, you may notice you're very prone to headaches. You really need to get you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You need to make sure that you are routinely getting checked up on anything that can really deal with like your head. So your sinus, your mouth, your teeth, really anything in regards, but mostly those headaches. You're going to notice that you're going to feel a lot of pain with those as well. Let's go on to the strengths of an Aries. So Aries are very energetic. They're very passionate. Kind of goes back to their fire sign, like we talked about in the beginning of the video. They are very much of a go lifestyle. They never like to be dormant. They like to be always on the move, always going for the next thing. They're very impulsive. So because they are the very first sign of all the zodiacs, they're actually compared to like a child. So they actually act pretty childish. If you know an Aries, you may kind of see this in some of their behavior. They are very independent. They are very headstrong, kind of like a kid, right? So if you kind of think of like a 3 or 4 year old, they're very impulsive, they're very energetic, and they're very much kind of all about themselves, right? They only care about the things that they're doing. They only care about how their behaviors influence themselves, and they really don't have any type of recognition for how their behavior could impact somebody else. As an Aries kind of grows up and develops, they do start to realize like that their actions have consequences. Of course, as we all grow up, we start to realize those things. But the Aries is ruled by the planet of Mars, and so Mars is the planet of war. So this means that Aries can have a very short temper, kind of like a child. It doesn't take much to set them off. It does not take much for them to become upset and then to just kind of like pout and like just really just think about who they are. They're just going to want to be by themselves. Eventually they're going to learn to apologize and they're going to say sorry, but an Aries thinks that saying sorry is simply just enough. And if you are an Aries, you have to realize that saying sorry doesn't necessarily mean that the other person has to forgive you. And typically that's what Aries mostly think of, is that, okay, I've said sorry, like I've done my part, now it's on them to believe, now it's on them to think if they're going to forgive me or not. And frankly, that's just not enough. But for an Aries, to them, that's what they believe. Because they have like that mindset of a child, they're super loving, they're super caring, and they're super fun. On the opposite side of that, they are also seen as super selfish, super demanding, and they can be really manipulative. But if you know an Aries, or you are an Aries, you really learn that like their style of love and their style of companionship is really different than any of our other signs. And you think it kind of goes back to a child. Like a child loves so much. They have so much love for so many people, and they're always happy. They're always energetic. They always love to just be in the know. They love to be in where the action is, and that's an Aries. A little bit about the weaknesses of a Aries. Because they are a cardinal sign, they're really good at starting new things, right? They're not so good at keeping to them. Things that, if you're an Aries, you may realize that you're not really good at trendy diets. You're not too good at believing in too good to be true miracles, and you always want to have the upper hand on somebody else. And that kind of comes through that like selfishness a little bit. You're very competitive, you're very aggressive, and you're also very selfish. And that really just comes from like your desire to be always in the know, always to be that very first person to be starting something new. And it really just means like you love to be learning new things. And that's kind of like a child. And Aries, like we compare Aries so much to children, right? But it's true. Like if you know an Aries, and I was thinking about when I was, kind of writing about all of what Aries are, like I thought about some of my Aries friends and I was like, holy cow. They are childish, but like it all makes sense, and like the things that they do, the way that they behave, and it's super interesting. If you are an Aries, I think what's super interesting about you is that you're very independent, you're very headstrong, and you definitely have like a sense of responsibility for your own actions once you begin to learn that. I think if one thing you need to realize for other people is that your actions do have consequences. You should feel like you need to apologize to people in a certain way, and you need to really express the things that you're sorry for and why you're sorry for them, and really understand like why they shouldn't happen again. As you guys know, I kind of talked about this in my first video, the astrology for real life. A little bit it talks about Aries in here, and so the last kind of like paragraph I really liked, and so I wanted to read it to you. It says, Aries are highly competitive, which can lead to aggression and selfishness. When you go that route, you can be like a ram in a china shop. A little empathy can go a long way, but don't be a brat. Let others have the floor on occasion. While it's good to be the first, it's nice to play fair. And I think that's super true of an Aries, because like we talked about, you're super energetic, you're super competitive, but really like you're the foundation of all of our signs. Like you're the beginning of really everything, because you are so headstrong, you're so independent in your ways, and you just have like this little aura of like positive energy around you. And that's definitely something about an Aries, is that they're usually always positive. They always try to find the best side of everything, and we love Aries. We really do. So if you know an Aries, tell them that they're childish. I would also tell them that you love them, because they'll be mad at you if you tell them that they're childish, because they're gonna say they're not. Like imagine telling a 4-year-old that they're acting like a child. It just doesn't go over well. So same for an Aries. But other than that, yeah. If you guys have any questions about Aries, or in general like cardinal, fixed, mutable, or water, air, and fire, please just let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer any of those questions for you. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you're an Aries, please let me know in the comments below kind of what you thought about. DM me on all my socials, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat. Yeah, other than that, remember, a positive mindset leads to a positive reality. Have a good day, guys.